All right, guys, we're not outside anymore. We're inside. We're inside his living room, and you guys, you really have no idea. I've been here for a couple of hours now, and it's absolutely mind-blowing what this guy's done with his ever-tolerant fiancée Shelby. They keep having discussions about where a tank can go and if it can go, and she'll say, if it fits, you can do it, knowing full well it probably won't fit, but you always make it fit. And we're going to give you guys the full tour. What are we doing now? You got all the shrimp up there, and now we got shrimp in here. What are we doing?
So, outside is easy. It's all tap water, straight from the hose. All the
Liquid
shrimp,
rock.
Yeah. All the shrimp inside, however, they all need the special soil. They all need filtered water with 0 kH. So it made it real simple for me to simplify everything, separate the hard water from the soft water. And these guys, they do better with stable parameters, stable temperature and everything like that. So I keep the whole house 72 all year round. So, you know, I never have to worry about heaters in the tanks or anything like that. And, you know, I just use all filtered water with GH only minerals, no KH. And it's just very simple to keep everything all together. I do 1 rack every day. And I try to get to every rack within 2 weeks' time.
Now, you mentioned that they all need the special soil. This looks like one of those type of plant substrates or something.
So it's volcanic ash rolled up into little tiny balls, and they put like humic acid and stuff into it as well when they roll it and fire it to make it little balls.
Okay.
But basically it buffers the water and makes it acidic. So the main
it's like a stabilizer too?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it'll most of the tanks are held at right at 6 pH. So,
okay.
Yeah, very stable. Depending on the soil and stuff like that, some of them may vary with the light cycle. As the lights are on, the pH might climb a little bit, but a good soil will keep it stable at the same pH.
And as you said, all these types of shrimp that you do inside, they really need a nice stable environment.
Besides the tigers, all the bees, all the Caridina, for the most part, yeah, they need the low pH. And some of them might be able to live or stay alive in a tank, but they won't breed and they won't have this many babies live to juvenile age and have that kind of survival rate without this soil and without this water.
Okay. So, in the life cycle of these things, are they quick to replicate? So you go to a Aquarium Society meeting or your local store, and you support it, you buy some shrimp, you come home. Are those ones outside versus these ones inside? Are they faster, slower? Like, what does a person got to do these things?
Generally speaking, for the average hobbyist, the Caridina will breed faster. But if you have the environment set up perfectly, they're both about the same.
Okay.
So you'll get a baby born. That baby takes about 2 to 3 months, sometimes longer, sometimes shorter, depending on temperature. The higher the temperature, the quicker they'll breed, the quicker they'll grow, but it shortens their life cycle. Okay. So if you want healthy shrimp to keep them right at about 72-degree temperature, kind of like a hospital, how they keep the temperatures cold to keep bacterial infections and stuff like that down. The same thing with shrimp. So you keep them at 72, and
72 is room temperature, maybe 1 degree higher than what room temperature we keep our houses at. That's like 20, 21 degrees Celsius.
So with that as being like the average, what everybody keeps their Caridina at, you'll get a baby within 2 to 3 months. It can be able to breed itself. So maybe 3 months in, that single shrimp will get buried. It will hold a saddle, and as soon as the saddle, which saddle is like a little tiny space behind the head of the shrimp, but it looks like a saddle to a horse.
Okay.
So that's why they call it a saddle.
On the females.
Yeah. And when the saddle gets fertilized by the male, they'll push the eggs from the back to the stomach, and that's when they call them buried.
Okay.
So from there, once the shrimp is buried, those eggs generally hatch within 30 to 35 days. Okay. Around 25 days or so, you can actually see the eyes on the eggs of the baby shrimp.
I don't know, like the humans, they don't go through like a 20-hour labor process to give birth to these things.
No, it's actually some of them, when you hybridize them, they'll carry eggs for like a single shadow or a double shadow gene, which single shadow gene is just 1 layer of pigment, where a double shadow layer gene is 2 layers of pigment overlapping one another. So what happens is those actually take a couple more days to hatch.
Okay.
So when you have a hybrid that produces both, the single layer will hatch first, and then you'll have different color eggs also. Generally the double layer will be blue or a deep brown or something like that, and it'll take maybe 4 or 5 days longer to hatch.
And that's what you're really known for. In the shrimp world in North America, you're the guy. You're also sitting there, you've got such high-end stock. You're breeding to develop all sorts of new, is it morphs or strains? What do you call it?
Yeah, I come from a line of sailors, and discovering and, you know, adventuring to new territory has got to be in my genes. And
Yep.
there's nothing to discover anymore. Unless I'm going to go into the bottom of the ocean, which my scuba diving certification only allows me to go so deep.
Yep.
I can't do anything other than create something new. So I try to do it with chameleons, but the reproduction rate of those is so, I'm young, I got a lot of time, but I'm not very patient.
And that's what you said, like outside in the greenhouse, that's how you guys got started. You were
Yeah.
breeding chameleons, and you had giant Mellors chameleons, and
Yeah.
Jackson chameleons, and you were also doing leopard geckos. How did you go from that to shrimp? Like, what was the transition?
I was doing crickets and worms for 2 to 3 hours a day, you know, feeding the crickets, feeding the worms, then cleaning the containers, and if you have your feeders prime and your feeders are well nutritioned and everything like
It
that,
passes on to the...
it goes right on to your breeders. So I was doing 2 or 3 hours a day just on feeders, not doing any work on anything else. And my dad offered me to buy his landscape company, and had a kid on the way, and it was better financially for me to do it, but I was in it for the genetics. So I stumbled upon shrimp, saw that they could be crossbred and different colors were possible, and the reproduction rate was so much faster. It kind of started with 1 tank, led to 3 tanks before I got a new color, and then I got a new color, and then I crossed that one with the next one, and I made something that was already out in the hobby, and I didn't get a wild. I think if I got a wild off of my first cross, it wouldn't have got me so...
What's a wild?
It's just a wild form. They're kind of ugly. They're dull in color, brownish, clear,
Oh.
translucent, very few stripes.
So none of these, like cherry shrimp, the red one, the blue one, the green one, none of those things would actually ever be found in the wild.
Right, those are all selected bred from a wild type Caridina, where they kind of show different hues of blue and reds and the stripes, and somebody took one and said, all right, I'm going to take you, breed you, and took the babies that were more red and more red and more red, and so on every generation until you got what you get today.
Okay.
So, but, you know, all that hard work is why that red cherry shrimp is $4 and not 25 cents like the wild type
Yeah,
is.
like grass shrimp you find in Florida.
Right. So it's it was one of those things where I got lucky. It happened on the first go. The babies came out really nice, real
That
beautiful.
set the fire, right? You were just off then.
And I was like, all right, I need the next one. I want to cross. I want to do more and more. And before I knew it, I had like 45 different species and over 50 tanks. And I didn't see a reason why to do landscaping anymore. If I could devote all my time and energy into this, I could make this into something.
Well, when we first started, we went outside, you know, like I've been to a lot of fish farms in Florida. I've been seeing a lot of fish rooms all over the world. And I'm like, okay, yeah, he's got a few shrimp and stuff like that in his yard. It's all done, all primitive and everything like that. But it works because you need to produce large numbers. And then when we came in the house, this is an entirely different world in the house. These aren't ugly garage sale tanks or tubs or anything like that. These are all pristine, beautifully, a lot of them are beautifully landscaped tanks. They're crystal clear water with impeccable stock. And there's not just this rat, guys. We're going to give you the full tour, but there's tanks all over the house here. You are completely, and your passion for it rings true. Like, just in listening to you guys, I'm sure it's going to transmit very well to the people watching this. You are so into this, and you're so into the genetics, like you said, and trying to find ways and means of creating. Because you were talking about, I want to take this color, and I want to take this color, and I want to take this stripe one, and I want to put them together, and I want to see what comes out of it. And then you'll be able to selectively breed out of that.
Right.
Like at home, I've only dabbled in it and stuff like that. I really like a tank of just crystal reds.
Yeah.
And I honestly know nothing about the grades. I know that the ones that are red and white are usually the entry level, and then depending on the stripes and how solid they are, how bold they are, or to get them all the way to white, those are the more desirable ones. And I think it's going to sound bad, but I think Biggs likes the junk ones. I wouldn't know how to color.
Yeah, no, it's one of those shrimps where so many people went for the higher grade, which is the solid white, that you know, everybody went and jumped on that train because it was more money.
Yep.
And now you won't find the 4 bands where it's 4 red stripes.
Nice, clean, solid bands.
Hardly at all. So
okay.
it's gotten to the point now where those 4 bands are getting, you know, more value because they're uncommon.
Yeah. And like you were showing me in that one of the rooms, high-grade green jades, and I was telling you, those are ones that I have at home right now. That's what I bought.
Yeah.
And mine, when I bought them, they were small, and then when they grew up, they were dark green like yours with that little gold stripe or whatever it was on the top there, and they were real dark, solid, and opaque. And I guarantee now, if I went in my tank, if you came to Winnipeg or Manitoba and you came out in the country and saw my tank, you'd go, Biggs, your stuff is crap. Because I haven't selected anything out of that. That tank just runs wild. There's probably 1,000 of them in that 40-gallon tank. And I know out of the blue, randomly, I did a video once, and there was an orange one in the tank.
Yeah.
Like, where did the orange guy come from? But that's all because all these things are all man-made, right? You're breeding all these things, so they will throw, was it mutations?
No, so just the crosses and stuff like that, you usually to get a new color, you have to cross 2. So when you cross 2 of the old shrimp together, you have those old recessive genes still in there. So I know when I first got my greens, I produced a lot of yellow and a lot of blues. And it took me 2 years to get those 2 colors out of there. And then I'll get, you know, a very clear one randomly or something like that. But for the most part, they're all green. For whatever reason now, just like what we said, out of maybe 100 babies, I'll get one that's such a bright, vibrant, neon orange. It's not like the orange Satura or anything like it. This thing literally looks like it had a neon sign lit up behind it. And I have no clue where that gene comes from, but it seems the newer lines that come into play, they're less stable than they are generally.
Well, I only have 1 shrimp tank, and I was going to say I've never done any culling or anything. I do the diligent water changes. I use RO water exclusively and everything works real good. But when we go around and show you guys, I think anybody that's ever kept even 1 shrimp tank can totally appreciate the sheer amount of work that's going to go into what this guy does. Because you're not only just keeping shrimp, and you've got lots of good shrimp, to keep them good like this, you have to do intensive culling all the time.
Yeah.
And anybody that's ever tried to catch a single shrimp in a tank using those little nets, they're challenging. And to do it on a scale that you guys do it, I can't even imagine. So let's give them a quick tour.
Yeah, absolutely. So this tank and the next tank is just more of the black tibies. They're pretty good sellers, so I just try to keep up with them. This is my low-grade safari tank. These are all my...
Low grade. These are ones I like best so far because just the bright red. I don't know. I guess I like red. You said you like green. I like red.
Yeah, they're just culls for the most part. The patterns aren't really there.
Well, I might be a cull too.
These are orange-eyed red tigers.
What's the little ampule thing?
It's from Proteobio. It's just a vial of bacteria.
Oh, okay.
These are some tang tie. And then the next tank is some pintos and blue steels. That's just a planted tank with some tang tie, some hybrids.
Just more like a decorative tank. It's not necessarily a breeding tank because it's just way up high.
Yeah, well the tang tie, they breed like crazy no matter what you do, they're tanks. Those are Rectin tigers. They're a wild tiger type. And another tank for tangerine tigers. And then these guys are, this is my secondary tank for black tiger orange eye.
So you just kind of almost inoculated the tank with a small colony to kind of get them started?
Yeah.
Okay. It's a pretty outstanding tank.
This is the main black tivy tank. So all the other ones were all selected out of this one. I try to keep these a little bit higher grade. I also, this is where I got my zebra ghost bees from, is this colony.
And they're all over the place. What's this plant in the middle?
Pogos erectus.
It is, okay. Progestamon, right?
Yeah.
Well, that is a stunning tank. All right, guys. This is probably something that most spouses would not allow, but we're actually in their bedroom. This is the master bedroom, and this is the view. They was able to get these 2 giant racks of fish in here. Not fish, shrimp.
Yeah.
So what's going on in here?
So this rack right here is all cycling, except for this tank right here. I have my group that I entered at AE that took first place. I just decided to keep them.
So this is the rack. This is the second rack. But earlier your wife was saying that if you could fit it in there, you could fit it in there, and you were able to get another whole rack in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's just worried about the TV, so I had to sacrifice a row for the TV. But this is my Black Galaxy.
These
tank.
are sharp.
This is my main tank. I have another tank. But yeah, I didn't get these that long ago, and I only started with like 5 in the tank, so I need to work on these some more.
Well, these are one of those ones that is fairly high priced access to start. Good quality ones for breeding.
Yeah, the cheap culls still go for like 13 to 25 bucks a piece.
Yeah.
Higher end is $100 and up.
Wow.
My pandas are all underneath. They grabbed the food and ran under. This is my Black King Kong panda tank. These are super princess bees. I just moved these in here so I didn't drop any food in there, but this is one of these laid babies for the top tank out there that I couldn't tear down yet. So,
Okay.
These are more of the safari double pigments in here. Pretty sure I'm gonna make the other tank all black, and then I'll make these with the red, and then I'll probably try to go for, if you see that guy right there, he's almost so red he's black.
Yeah.
I'll go for a tank of just those and try to
Deep
work on
wine
that
color.
At one point I did work on those, and then I got one that ended up having a back stripe, which means they're not a pure line, so I scrapped the whole thing.
Okay.
These are just my red pandas, super crystal blacks. I just got those not long ago. Hope those get going. These are a big seller. Those are the Aurora Blues. Those are very hardy. You can keep those in tap water as well. And those are some redhead spotted pintos. Just got those not long ago. That's my second tank of the Black Galaxy. Throw the lower grades in there. That's one of my Nebula tanks. There's not too many in there. I just threw in 10 smaller ones.
Okay.
They were born in one of the other tanks that I tore down.
Just to get it started.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw more in that tank. That's a blue steel from Nico, French breeder.
So they're throwing the blue steel look from Zoolander?
Yeah. These are tang tied, red focus, so I cull anything that comes out black or brown.
Cool. Now we're in the area that you said was once, at one point in time, because you grew up with this. This was your house as a child. So.
Yeah, when we first moved in here, this was a closet. My dad knocked this out so you could expand the garage and turn that into a bedroom.
Okay.
He made his garage smaller, which doesn't make a lot of sense for a carpenter, but he did it to have more living space. Those are my Calcios. I got blue, black, and red all in the same tank. The blues are blue dragons, but definitely one of my favorite shrimp is the blue dragon ones.
Now this tank here, we have one out in the living room that we basically skipped over, and we're gonna go and show you guys ones that at the end. But this is a kind of a backup tank. Are you starting a secondary for production?
This was actually the first tank. However, I oversold it. And before I oversold, I populated the other tank, and I just kept selling out of this tank. But I'm gonna let this restock now that the other tank is fully populated.
And this is a very unique shrimp. This isn't like either of the other ones.
No, these are Suluese. This is a Cardinal Dennerli strain, but they need harder water, pH of 8 and 200 TDS. There's KH in this water, and they need a heater to 80-degree temperature.
So they're a bit more specialized than the average person.
Yeah. These are my Galaxies, mostly red with some red steels in there. Got a couple blacks and stuff, but when the other tanks are cycled in the bedroom, I'm gonna split those up into 2 or 3 tanks right there.
These guys are sharp. Those ones that are that's almost like a screaming soft pink, like a flamingo.
Yeah. Another tangerine tiger tank. Tangerine tigers are probably the most Caridina demand shrimp out there. They're just such tanks. You can keep them in such high variety of parameters.
This one has a bit of reflection, guys, because of the Soloisi tank right beside me. I hope you guys can see these ones.
This is just a hybrid tank. I got some Pintos from Michael Nadal's line, and then some Tyvees from Andrew Wayne, and I just let them do their thing in there. And then this is the main tangerine tiger tank right here, believe it or not. I get 4 buried females that stay constantly buried all year round, and I sell 40 shrimp out of this tank every other week.
Wow.
With just the 4 shrimp. But if you can see with the mulm on the bottom and everything is one of my older tanks. So I have started this tank in the tank in the back, the 20. So that way I have a backup tank in case the pH.
This one looks like you just set up. Isn't that in this one?
Yep. This is a tank set up for my buddy Chaz at Elevate Shrimp, and this is a system of his that he believes will start mass producing shrimp.
Oh, okay. So the different type of filtering system and everything.
Yeah, the goal is to mass produce shrimp on a bigger scale with using a smaller footprint.
That's cool.
These are more green tiger culls. Green, kind of my favorite color, so they're not being green tigers. I kind of focus a lot on them. As many tanks as I can until I get the look I'm going for, and then select the breed from that. These are just some Tyvees out of my Nebula line. This is just I just got blue bees last month and a half ago for my birthday. I only got 10 in that 20 gallon, and they're all hiding.
Little tiny ones.
Yeah.
You did some immersed plant growth.
Yeah, I do the Pogos Helferi immersed, and it just way easier to propagate them, and then I'll try to convert them to my own water. These are just the golden bees or red bolts. I need to cross them to figure out exactly what they are. These are the cheetahs crossed with snow whites.
I'm just amazed that you're able to memorize all this stuff. I know cichlids and I know the Latin names, but I'm blown away by the knowledge you have of these things and remembering all these crazy names.
This is one of my crossbreeding projects. These are culls. I call these my confetti steels. I'm trying to get red and blue pigment on the same shrimp. This is the same line as my other tangerine crossed with Shadow Panda and then the Missouri 4th generation in, but I went a different route.
Okay.
These are my yellow King Kong Rilly culls. So you get some mixed Rilly pattern just like your red Rillies. These guys are the same, where you get solid yellow and everything in between the clear yellow, all the way through the shrimp.
And if you guys didn't think that was enough, Grant is now in his son's bedroom. Giant bunk bed, and this was your bed when you were a kid in this house, right?
Yeah, correct.
So now this is your son's bedroom, and what kid? This is called proper parenting right here. Get the kids involved. It's not all about video games. It's about nature. It's about life. This is absolutely amazing. So what are we looking at here? This tank I saw a few, but this one, these guys are obscured because the tank's so amazing.
I think the food's right here.
With lush plant growth. They're kind of orange is all I saw.
Yeah, this is my biggest tangerine tiger tank. I haven't touched this tank though for at least 2 months, just trying to build the population up.
I can see them all over the filters and everything like that. They're bright orange, guys. Okay? And you were saying these 2 tanks, you used to be breeding different types of crayfish, and these ones you're just going to reset.
These are cycling now. They were crawfish tanks, but I'm going to use them to select a breed from the tanks outside. The left tank, I think it has 1 lone red tiger male. I'm going to use that for crossbreeding. I just haven't decided. Those are just some culls from a random tank out there. This is my main Nebula tank. This is where the rusty King Kong purplish colors come in. And then the next tank, these are blue steels, but I'm trying to focus on the blue head, white bodies.
Yep.
These are
seem to be doing a pretty good job.
Yeah, these were made from scratch. So this is my own line. Pulled these out of the confetti line. So it's original tangerine tiger with Shadow Panda.
Do you have all this written down?
No. These are pure red line crossed with red tigers. This is a F1.
Now, if you breed something, you talked about your Nebula line or this one that we just looked at here, blue steel, and you name it that, and you start sending it out to the people, do people just give it different names? Does that happen in the industry?
It happens. People try to rename shrimp all the time for that big sale. And
yeah.
recently somebody called red really calls red riding hoods, just because they had red heads. Even though they had probably the same cull rate as red Rillies will. The last two tanks are, this is my nebulas, but they have the galaxy zebra marks and stuff like that. And the tank before was the culls. These are just some red and black crystal shrimp. And that's an old Opaula tank.
And you were saying that's a Hawaiian species or
Yeah.
brackish species?
Yep, those are from Hawaiian. They're a little bit smaller than cherry shrimp, but they look about the same. That's my crystal black tank. Super Tigers.
Those are cool.
I won third place with those at the Aquatic Experience recently.
Only third?
Well, I got first place with my black tigers up there.
Oh, okay.
And then Vin took second place.
So you're competing against yourself at most of these competitions, is what you're saying?
Yeah, well, Vin took second place, and he's one of the top breeders in the world, so. And then that's my original Nebula tank, so I got some culls to pull out of there, and I separate those into the top tanks above. And this is my main confetti tank. This is where I'm trying to get the blue and the red steel in the same pigment on the same shrimp. It's kind of hard to tell with the bright light.
Now, you must keep all your lights on timers?
Some of them are. This room, I turn this room off when every night, 8:30 is when my son reads.
Yep.
So once he's done reading, I turn off all the lights. Those are red tigers. These are my yellow King Kong Rillies and the lemon heads.
Lemon heads. They're striking.
These are the headless horsemen. Same line, just called differently. Over a year working each line in different directions. These are my Aurora crossbred, but these ones came out red. So I've been trying to select a breed for the red, even though the gene is recessive, so I've been getting a lot of blacks. I'm still just trying to get the red out of it.
Oh, that red speckled one there on the left of the screen there, that's just outstanding.
Yeah, I don't really get that kind of pattern and scale coloration from other crosses. This is just a wild type Hummel from Finland. And then I got my Shadow Panda babies.
Oh, they are really blue, aren't they?
Yeah, I just moved those from the other tank. I'm going to start selective rating those. And then orange-eyed yellow King Kongs.
Of course they are.
And then those are my blue steels, but I'm not focused on the white bodies here. I like the blue all the way through on these ones. Even though
Okay.
some of them are kind of white in the body
So
on
like-
camera, if you look off camera, you can see
Yeah.
there's blue tint all the way through.
So you're trying to go with a dark blue head and then kind of baby blue throughout?
Yeah.
Okay.
And these are just normal yellow King Kongs, nothing special.
Nothing special at all.
Those are black tiger orange-eyed crossed with the red hollow-eyed ghost.
Remember that, kids?
This is one of my orange-eyed blue. The next three tanks are all orange-eyed blue tigers in different breeds. So this is my main tank right here. There's a couple hundred shrimp in there. And then those are Michelins. If you look though, I have some, I don't know if you're gonna be able to see it on your camera. But if you look in person, like you see that one right there has blue on the nose.
Oh, yeah.
It's not really common to find blue on a crystal, so even though there are Michelins that obviously have blue ball genes to them, there's still not very many crystals in the world have blue or mellow. This is my main green jade tank.
Yeah, they are dark green.
When I get too many population of large ones in here, I'll start throwing some of these out into the greenhouse.
This is a Neo Caridina, or this is a
Yeah.
Caridina? Okay.
This is Neos. So this is my main Aurora Blue Tiger tank. Some of the higher grade ones in here.
And you breed these to get that nice solid blue?
Yeah. And these are my ghost bees with zebra stripes, and some of them have the fishbone as well.
The fishbone is the pattern that's on the back, right?
Yeah, and it literally looks like your shirt there with the fishbone going down. And these are the fishbone ghost bees crossed with the cheetahs.
These are neat.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and make my own line of green tigers off of those. So some of them are kind of greener than the others. I'll select those. That's why I have all those tanks cycling in the other room.
Yeah.
So I can start separating some of these out there.
Okay.
And this is another green tiger cull tank. However, some of these guys have like blue heads. Like there's one yellow one going back there with a little blue steel head to them. So I have a really nice buried female in the tank. She's got to be in the moss in the back somewhere, but it just looks like a blue steel head with a yellow body. So it's no one else really has those, so I'm working on that. So these are the red cross from my nebulas. It's a recessive gene, so I don't get very much of them, and they're probably all chilling underneath the moss. These are the golden bees or red bolts. I need to cross them. It's another tank that I had from the hallway. These are my stardust. And then the next tank is my regular golden bees, and then I've crossed my, not golden bees, ghost bees, and then I've crossed my ghost bees with some normal tigers in it.